Do you remember the day you were sitting on your couch, a mountain of work awaiting your attention, but you're just not feeling it? Sound familiar? That's laziness, my friends, and we've all been there. But why do we experience this? Just like you, I have asked this question many times. And the more important question is, how can we overcome it so that we can achieve more in our lives? You are not going to believe this, but I have worked hard and spent hours researching unconventional but effective techniques to conquer this emotional parasite that often sabotages our quest for achievement. You may not find these anywhere else, so stay tuned as I share these 7 unusual techniques that will help us flush out laziness at will, just like flushing out your kitchen sink anytime you wish. This might shock you, but we will be learning our first lesson from the tireless community of ants, carrying bits and pieces to its colony. What can we learn from these tiny creatures? Ever watched an ant carry a breadcrumb 10 times its size? It doesn't just heave it up and sprint home. It's all about tiny, consistent steps. Intriguing, isn't it? The tenacity of these tiny creatures. They are the embodiment of consistent hard work. The ant technique. It's not about the size of the task, but the consistency of the effort. Consider a time when you witnessed an ant on a mission. Did you notice how it moved the breadcrumb bit by bit, never rushing, yet never stopping? That's the ant technique in action. It's about focusing on small improvements every day, not waiting for big leaps. Think of it this way. If you improve by just 1% every day, that's a 365% improvement in a year. That's the power of small, consistent steps. You might be wondering, how can this apply to overcoming laziness? Well, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by the enormity of our tasks. We want to accomplish everything at once, and when we can't, we lose motivation. But what if we broke it down, just like the ant with its breadcrumb? Little by little, step by step, we can make significant progress. And remember, it's okay to start small. It's okay to take one step at a time. It's okay to be like the ant, focusing on the journey, not just the destination. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your success be. So start small and keep moving. If you are finding this information useful, it won't cost you anything, but it will mean the world to me if you smash the like button. Thank you. Now, remember when you were a toddler and the world was one big playground where every new thing sparked curiosity? That's what we're tapping into with the Toddler Technique. Picture this. A toddler sees a toy for the first time. It's not just a toy to them, it's an expedition waiting to be embarked upon. They don't know how it works, what it does, or why it makes that funny noise when you shake it. But that doesn't stop them from exploring. They poke it, prod it, shake it, maybe even taste it, all in the name of discovery. They approach it with an open mind, ready to learn and grow. Now let's apply that to our lives. When faced with a new task, instead of viewing it as a daunting obligation, see it as an opportunity to learn something new. Don't worry about being an expert right off the bat. Instead, embrace the unknown, ask questions and dive right in. Think of it like this. Every task is a toy waiting to be played with. You might not know all the rules yet, or even how to win, but that's part of the fun. It's not about perfection, it's about growth and discovery. So, the next time you're faced with a challenge, don't shy away from it. Instead, approach it like a toddler would, with curiosity, eagerness, and an open mind. Just like a toddler, be curious, be open, and let your tasks become your playground. This year, let's help one another by sharing useful information like this so that we can all grow. Share this video with someone who may need it. Ever noticed how sluggish you feel after a holiday feast? That's your body begging for a break from overeating. Picture this. You're at your desk, ready to tackle a crucial task, but you've just eaten a massive lunch, and suddenly, your brain feels foggy, your eyelids heavy. Sound familiar? That's the food coma setting in, and it's a productivity killer. This is where the 80% eating technique comes into play. It's a simple idea. Stop eating when you're about 80% full. This prevents overloading your digestive system, allowing your body to maintain its energy levels. It's like filling your car's fuel tank. Overfill it, and you'll get spills, a mess, and wasted fuel. But if you fill it just right, your car runs smoothly, and so do you. So before you start an important task, remember to take it easy on the grub. Remember, a well-fueled engine runs better than an overloaded one. Ever started a task without knowing why you're doing it? That's like driving without a destination. Welcome to the world of the intention technique, a strategy that underlines the importance of having a clear purpose or intention for every task. You see, when we know the why, the how becomes a lot easier. Let's illustrate this with a story. Picture a man named John. He's a hard worker, always the first one in the office and the last one to leave. Yet despite his effort, he often feels overwhelmed and unproductive. He's driving, but with no clear destination. So John decides to try the intention technique. He starts setting a clear intention for each task, aligning them with his personal and professional goals. When his intention is to learn and grow, he chooses tasks that challenge him. When his intention is to increase his income, he focuses on tasks that promise a good return. And when his intention is to help others, he engages in tasks that make a difference. What happens next is magical. John's productivity skyrockets. He's no longer just busy, he's effective. He's driving with a clear destination in mind. The intention technique isn't just about getting things done. It's about getting the right things done. It's about aligning your actions with your goals, your tasks with your purpose. So find your why before you find your how. Ever waited for the perfect moment to start a project? Spoiler alert. There's no such thing as the perfect moment. This brings us to the starter technique, an antidote to the paralysis of perfectionism and procrastination. Think back to when you learned to ride a bike. You didn't wait until you had mastered the theory of balance or understood the mechanics of the bicycle, did you? No, you jumped on, wobbled a bit, fell off, got back on, and eventually you were pedaling away, wind in your hair, freedom at your fingertips. This is the essence of the starter technique. Often, we delay starting a task because we're waiting for all the pieces to fall into place, for the entire path to be clear. But life's not a jigsaw puzzle, and the path is rarely clear. The starter technique encourages you to start before you're ready, to take that first step, even if you can't see the full staircase. Consider the story of Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group. He didn't wait until he had a detailed business plan or a degree in business administration. He started his first business venture, a magazine, when he was just 16, learning and refining his approach as he went along. So don't let the fear of the unknown hold you back. Dive in, start your project, and figure out the details as you go. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Ever looked at a complex task and thought, there's got to be an easier way to do this? Well, you're right. This brings us to the lazy technique, a twist on conventional wisdom that may just prove to be your secret weapon against overwhelming tasks. Let's consider a story about a witty engineer named Alice. Alice was assigned a project that seemed insurmountable. An enormous amount of data needed to be processed and analyzed, and the manual method would have taken weeks. Now, Alice was a little lazy, and the thought of spending weeks on this task was not appealing. So, Alice started to think. She asked herself, how can I simplify this task to get it done faster? She decided to leverage her skills in coding to create a program that could process and analyze the data in a fraction of the time. By being lazy, Alice found a simpler, more efficient way to complete her task. The lazy technique is all about using your laziness as a catalyst for innovation. It's about asking the right questions to streamline your tasks. Is there a more efficient way to do this? Can I automate part of this task? Can I delegate or outsource some of this? So the next time you're faced with a daunting task, don't be daunted by its complexity. Instead, harness your inner laziness, tap into your creativity, and find a smarter, simpler way to get the job done. So be lazy, but be smart about it. Ever felt like a car running on empty? That's your body and mind telling you it's time to refuel. We all have those days when we're running from task to task, meeting to meeting, without a moment to catch our breath. But here's the thing, folks. We're not designed to operate like that round the clock. Just like a car needs fuel to run, our bodies and minds need rest to function effectively. We've all heard the phrase, burning the candle at both ends, right? Well, that's precisely what we do when we ignore our need for rest. And just like a candle can't burn forever, neither can we. So, before you reach that point of burnout, it's essential to take a step back, relax, and recharge your batteries. Now, I'm not just talking about getting a good night's sleep, although that's certainly part of it. I'm also talking about taking regular breaks throughout the day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Go for a walk, meditate, do some stretching, read a book, or even just sit quietly. These little breaks can do wonders for your productivity and creativity. Don't underestimate the power of rest. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It's about knowing your limits and respecting your body and mind. Remember, even machines need downtime, so give yourself the rest you need to conquer the world.